We feel that membership in the United Nations is necessary and in the best interest of the United States citizens. Why or why not? We begin with Mr. McCall.
Thank you very much. Again, as I said, I've had the opportunity to travel all over the world. And I know that many in this room probably see the things that the United Nations has done that they're upset with. Specifically, Andy will, I'm sure, talk about the money spent that goes on there. But believe it or not, there are some good things. The World Health Organization, some of the food programs, the HIV programs that are going on in Africa and other places. Now, some of the missions that they've done through the military have not been as great. And that's where there's been some problems. You take a look at also some of the funding. We fund almost a third of the United Nations. I think everybody needs to give their fair share. I would not throw the baby out with the bathwater. I would not get rid of the United Nations, but I'd take a look at the sovereignty issues and those that have to do specifically with peacekeeping. But as a physician, all the good things that the United Nations do, I would keep going. Thank you.
You know, I want to make an announcement to you with the first few seconds of my 15 left. It is very easy for politicians and candidates to say things that you're going to clap about. Okay? And I want you to have the old meter that my farm buddies have on, and when you hear this stuff going and it sounds too good to be true, it is. Now, the second part. There was a day when I was a young kid following Dick Lugar and Dan Quayle and others around that I would have probably answered this differently. There was a time when Harry Truman and others probably thought that the UN made some sense, okay? But right now I will tell you the honest truth, and I don't even like to hear myself say it. If we can't fix the UN, we got to get out of it.
We've made an important point clear that we've got to protect our national sovereignty, and that we cannot rely on the fact that America is going to be the big dog in the world forever. And so as we sign on to programs with the UN, we can't just rely on the fact that future generations are going to be able to veto those kinds of programs. I really would, though, echo what Gross, I thought he was going a different direction at the beginning of his conversation there, because I would tell you this. I can't support us withdrawing from the UN because of the signal that would send to the world. And so while I will go to Congress and I will fight for our national sovereignty, and I will fight to make sure that we are not delegating our legislative authority to the UN, I would not support withdrawal from the UN. Thank you.
It's not just legislative authority I'm worried about, though. I am worried about our troops serving under foreign commanders in foreign lands. I'm worried about our boys and women putting their lives in danger, being ordered around by somebody who doesn't understand our culture, our values, and maybe not even our language. I'm worried about the UN using our money, our government's money, millions and millions and maybe billions of it, to enact population control programs around the world that violate my belief in the right to life, whether you're an American or Chinese or Chinese. Now, the UN is on Manhattan Island last time I checked. I would move it to its own island, quite frankly. I don't know who would have to host it, but I think the UN is okay as a forum for discussion. I would always rather have people point fingers at each other than missiles. But that's the end. It should be discussion and voluntary. And
Thank you.
Thank you.
Role in some respects, and it certainly is a perfect no, but it is the place where countries can send their ambassadors and their leaders to discuss disputes and to try to come to consensus and to settle disputes peacefully. The United Nations does a tremendous amount of humanitarian work all around the world. As I believe Luke had mentioned, or John had mentioned about HIV, a third of the world's population does not have access to clean water. The United Nations does some very good work. Do I want us to give up our sovereignty to the United Nations? Of course not. Do I think that the system is imperfect? Of course I do. But I think that they're an easy target, and I certainly support our efforts in the United Nations.
We have to be there as an influence, and it does do good work. Maybe not all the time, but it does do good work. So If we're not at the table, we're not gonna have a voice at the table. So we need to be present, and does the United Nations have to be changed? Yeah, maybe there's some things that we should change on it. But if I had to look at everything that we have to work on right now, that is not the highest priority as far as I'm concerned. And I can tell you, as far as the military is concerned, our military is going to ensure that we are commanded by U.S. commanders, not foreign nationals. So that's not going to happen. That's one thing we'll stand up for, and that won't happen. So I would say, yes, the United Nations has its place, and we need to be a member at the table.
The United Nations needs to go yesterday. To members that don't like us, we are the humanitarian country in the world with or without them. We don't need them. We are the shining hill in the city. We don't need them telling us what to do, when we're going to do it. This is the United States of America. We became the power that we are because we are compassionate, because we had a Christian belief and a Christian God, and we were blessed. And we continue to show with our humanitarian efforts. We give them untold dollars. It's an outrage that we continue to give money. They're going to cap and trade us. It's going to go to the government in Europe. It's going to destroy our economy even more. The World Health Organization, all it did was ramp up a real non-existent viral that was going to kill us all.
Thank you.
We didn't get enough of it.